What's up, everybody, y'all? Welcome back to Obscure Oddities, and today in this video we're going to be going over the first chapter of the Discipline of Psychic Warrior.
And what we call a chapter, at least.
Chapter section titled Wife Beating. This is, 6 pages long?
Yeah, it's about 6 pages.
Roughly 6 pages. And so I'm going to go ahead and let Ty here read the basic overview of it.
Well,
Lick my lips like a lizard. I lick my lips kind of popcorn.
ignore him. But anyway, the wife beating pages, it starts off with deer. And just FYI, it's just deer. No comma or anything after it.
Yeah, he starts. Yeah, it's one of the ones that we talked about that were in letter form.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's not known for grammar. So.
Yeah, he's not known for his grammar, but like the other letter ones start off with like "Dear Sir" or "Madam" as if it's a business letter, but just straight dear. It seems like he's writing to a friend or a colleague.
Not only that, but it starts with "I read your article on wife beating," so it seems like
he knows him personally.
Yeah, on a more personal level.
Yeah.
But anyway, he goes on to say, I read your article on wife beating and was very impressed with how widespread a problem this is. So he talks about him never thinking about how widespread of a phenomenon it is. Mm-hmm. And he always just thought it was more like a low class, like a poor people thing. But he realized that happened at all levels. It's just that
it's exacerbated the lower and middle classes.
Well, not only that, but he also mentioned that people in upper classes, you don't see it as much because, in his words, people poor live in places like apartment complexes where stuff like that is heard.
Mm-hmm. So it's more talked about.
Yeah, it's not. It's not shush.
Yeah.
It's
taboo.
But and he says he believes that it's not just a random thing that just happens. He believes
it causes it.
Well, I'm gonna say, yeah, he believes that there's actual, solid reasons behind it, and he believes that you can dig down and get to those reasons to avoid it.
Yeah, both spouses are to blame in his.
Yeah, this isn't just.
Both spouses are like.
This isn't just like
the man or the female.
This is a marriage, and
takes two to tango, sweetheart.
It does take two. But he goes on to talk about a 4-step plan to prevent wife beating. The first step is titled Premarital Counseling and Education, and he talks about how he feels that every couple, and not even every couple, but just every young adult, even as early as, say, high school, should go through, say, like classes about marriage and like premarital counseling to know more about stuff like that, because he sees a lack of knowledge about both like wife beating and the issue it is, as well as your own emotions as part of the reason.
Social retardation in a way, like not knowing how to deal with issues like that. Like, if people aren't educated.
Well, it's just a lack of knowledge because you don't get taught that in school.
You should be, though.
Or ever, because like people. The thing about premarital counseling is that people don't go into it until there's already a problem.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They don't go to it to avoid any problems.
They go to it as a remedy rather than a prevention.
Yeah. And I forget their saying. There is a saying, something about that. Basically says that preventing it is worth more than like 100 cures, which is true. But step 2 is learning how to identify and properly channelize emotions, and it goes on what I talked about how people, especially kids and stuff, they aren't taught how to handle emotions very well, which causes a lot of problems. And that's true for even some like adults who, like, think of a Karen or something, someone who has an outbreak.
Karen, yeah, for real.
But like, it's just some people don't know how to handle. We are cultured, by the way. But some people just don't know how to handle their emotions very well, and it's mainly because they never figured out how to as a child.
It was never taught to them, which it should be. They should have.
Yeah, it really should be.
It should be a subject.
And then step 3, he talks about early identification of situations that tend to lead to violence. So he talks about looking at the different things that cause it, and he goes on to, well, first of all, he sees alcohol as probably a problem because, you know, if you're drunk, your reasoning is
limited. Your head's clouded.
Yeah, I'm going to say you can get angry easy and bad stuff can happen.
Wife spills a cup. Honey, why would you do that? It's an accident.
Yeah, I'm bad to say, like.
For real.
But,
yeah, alcohol, any controlled substance just exacerbates the problem. You got to have self-control.
But he talks about learning your warning signs, and he goes later on in step 4, but it's part of step 3 really, is to not only know your warning signs, but you have to be aware of them, and you have to let your partner know about them. And
you gotta let your lady know. You gotta warn to not bottle up that stuff. Like, if I was...
Yeah, because one example he used is that, say, a husband who had a very bad day at work, he suggests, which I think is a brilliant idea, that you should call your wife ahead.
Honey, I'm mad, yeah.
Let her know that you did not have a bad day, or that you did have a bad day.
Yeah.
But just so she can prepare, you know, it said so she can like tell the kids to kind of sort of leave you alone and stuff like that. And he also recommends, of course, not going to a bar afterwards because, you know, that just makes it worse.
It just kicks the can down the road. You may be happy until you get home, you know, chill with your buddies and play
then
pool.
You get home and, you know, then you're drunk too. So
why are the dishes done?
But step 4 is titled "A Home Defense Plan to Relieve Excessive Tensions." So he mentions measure 1, which is both the husband and the wife would refrain from any alcoholic beverage or drug until they had the situation calmed down and under control, which is evident. And the measure 2 is what I mentioned, which is calling ahead if you knew you was going to be grouchy or something like that. And that goes both ways, not just the husband.
Yeah, if your lady's out shopping and she missed the Black Friday deals or something like that. Feel like, honey, I'm mad. Don't let the kids bother me.
I'm gonna say didn't get that purse.
I'll spank one of them if they touch me up for real.
But, and then measure 3, he says, well, he talks about just, well, first of all, he recommends getting an ice pack. So
gets a cool head, both literally and
because, you know, anger leads, he says, to blood flow in the brain or in the head. You know, so he recommends the spouse or husband. Well, I mean, it's just whoever is the one that isn't mad, pretty much.
Yeah, the level-headed one at the moment.
You know, get an ice pack for them, which, you know, it's something you should do. It's a very nice gesture. But he says that helps. It helps calm them down and get your blood pressure down and stuff like that. And he mentions even if you knew it was going to be bad, then maybe preparing something like a hot bath, which, of course, both ways.
Soothing.
Mm-hmm. Which would help, you know, release muscle tension, stuff like that, which I believe is what he said.
Did he say something about music, too? Didn't he say, like, classical music would help?
I don't think he actually mentions classical music. But then, of course...
It's true, it would. Yeah, play his favorite song. Yeah, don't be blasting heavy metal, but play some, like, smooth jazz.
I'm going to say, don't be playing something that might make him want to hit you. Like, don't play any PPO game.
Inside joke.
But anyway, measure 5, probably a very popular one among men, which is if the husband desires that the wife can slowly masturbate him until he releases, which of course is not a necessary step, but I guess it is something that...
For those who speak English, he's suggesting
they know what masturbation
the lady giving her man's handy to release the tension.
Of course, he doesn't even say that that's just male specific.
Yeah.
You could masturbate her too. But that's not necessary. Of course, that's only
if it's needed.
Or if it's desired,
yeah.
But then, probably one of my favorite parts.
Come home fake mad.
For real, I'm gonna have a lot of men coming home pretending to be mad.
For real.
But no, measure 6 says give your husband some food and lots of beverages. Ice water, okay, tea, and then Gatorade, which is Gator
Aid.
Yeah, space AID as in the disease.
Like
it's
AIDS,
spelled
yeah,
Gatorade.
For
Because, you know, he said anger and emotional upset burns off a lot of bodily fluid, which is good. I'd probably recommend something chilled. You know, a cool glass. But, you know, he goes right after that and says, He says he repeats measure 6, which says the wife can then take a hot bath herself and go through her own little recovery routine. But of course, that's
only if need be.
Yeah, but I mean that goes for either or most of the stuff.
This is mainly based on this is in the context of preventing man from beating a woman, but it goes both ways too.
He even talks about it because he says the home defense plan can also be used by the husband on the wife if she has had a bad day. And he goes on to say an angry wife does not usually beat a husband, but she can verbally abuse him in a way,
which leads
or the children, because you have to think of the children. It's not only spouse. You might blow up on the kids, which is
even worse in my opinion.
Honestly, probably even worse.
Happy wife, happy life. That is rules to live by.
But yeah. He also suggests that the husband bathe the wife first, because once the husband is masturbated by his wife, he'll be practically unconscious for 15 to 20 minutes.
I don't know about y'all, but whenever I finish, I just get sleepy.
I'm sure it knocks you out for 20 minutes,
It's like
I'm
Thanksgiving.
Sure everyone can relate.
For real.
You just finish and just
pass out on the floor for an hour or two. Gotta regain my composure.
But he talks about other methods of ways to vent emotions. He talks about having an aggression room, which is fun.
A break room, yeah, for
real. Although sort of expensive. But he mentions something like a punching bag.
Which is good, yeah, for real.
But other than that, he also mentions, say, just getting outside. He mentions stuff like jogging, which is... Well, if you don't like jogging, I personally recommend walking. I think walking is a great way.
It clears your head.
To clear your head. Especially if like a park or someplace, more out in the wilderness, more touching nature.
Even if you're like not in a relationship, like walking or doing something with a buddy is always good.
That stuff's great.
Yeah, for me and him do it all the time. We talk about we're not gay. We're not the homosexuals. No, we're just talking about boys. Talking about ladies and stuff, and problems we've had with them, just to clear the head.
But yeah, and he talks about getting out of the house every now and then, which is always a good thing, especially in a relationship. You probably want a break every now and then. And of course, his example is the husband can go fishing and the wife can go shopping.
It was made in the 70s, yeah.
It's very stereotypical, but this man is
a
person in the 70s, so you shouldn't be too surprised.
It can go either or.
And he talks about...
If you got a lumberjack wife, she can go out and cut some trees. You can go. you can go do some grocery shopping.
I'm about to say you can clean the dishes.
You can clean the dishes, for real.
But no. And then, he talks about 5 major areas that cause the most problems, and he even recommends ironing that stuff out before the marriage is even a thing.
Yeah, you gotta get your stuff straight.
Yeah.
Before you get together, or God forbid bring kids into something like that.
Yeah,
too.
Definitely. You need to have that good foundation and have that stuff worked out.
It's one thing if you're ruining yours and hers life, but it's another thing if you're ruining your kids' lives too.
100%, I agree.
Yeah.
And marriage is one of those things where not everything should be taken just like as you come to it. Some things need to be planned out ahead.
Yeah, and some things are that way. Cross the bridge we come to, because you don't know what's going to happen. But anything that can be prevented should be.
Mm-hmm. He talks about, he says the 5 problems are authority, money, sex, in-laws, point 1 for very many people, and then child rearing. So, he just recommends going over that stuff, saying
the way
who has authority in a relationship, how money is managed, talks about sex, and then
the dirt.
children, even if you want children.
Yeah, for real.
And just stuff like that, or who would take care of them. And then, of course, in-laws, some people would rather avoid their in-laws and understand.
I don't have in-laws.
He's not married. He does not have in-laws.
I'm already practicing on hating them. It's not true.
But no, he goes on. The last part is just saying that it's just a statement of his genuine belief that a lot of marriage problems really could be talked about by stuff like counseling and education and working stuff out like that beforehand, and especially in a logical, calm manner.
Because whenever you're mad, you're mad. You're not seeing straight. Yeah.
Beforehand, because once you're already mad, it's hard to bring yourself back down.
You can't see straight. I'm afraid you can't. You don't think logically.
It's very hard to do that. Which is great, and one sentence is, most couples today do not even know how to recognize and define a major problem, so by the time the problem is apparent, they are so angry with each other that they are emotionally unable to handle it, and the situation degenerates into violence, verbal or physical, which I really agree with, because I feel like it's a thing. I feel like a lot of relationships go sour because of stuff like that, and stuff that wasn't talked about, and problems that weren't recognized, especially problems that weren't recognized before they became a problem.
And 9 times out of 10, things can't be talked through even once they're found out. Don't be like,
well, yeah,
he's this or he's that, so leave him.
So you should always try.
You can try,
talk through stuff first.
Leaving,
any extreme conclusions.
like breaking up / the divorce is, the divorce, yeah. Is the last resort.
I'm gonna say that is honestly that's the last thing you want to do. But if it comes
to expensive, it's heartbreaking. I smack myself in the phone.
But no, if it is necessary, then it's something you should do. But it's something that needs
9 times out of 10, it can be prevented and worked through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and also by getting with the right person to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But
i.e. not rushing into a marriage.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I remember what I was going to say. That this advice applies to most, quite a few relationships. Like, if it's girlfriend and boyfriend, or girlfriend, boyfriend, it doesn't matter.
Gay.
But seriously, it doesn't matter if they're married or not, because this advice,
it spans the whole board, like relationships in general. This can be used in friendships too, not just
maybe not the master.
Certain things excluded.
Unless you're,
it's friends with benefits. We're just friends. It's fine.
Yeah, just friends.
Yeah, to a certain extent, it can be used across the board.
But no, but the advice when it comes to figuring out problems and talking stuff through is very general. That applies to pretty much any relationship.
Yeah. Whether it be a friendship, colleagues at work, and be like, "Hey, man, I'm not new talking today. I ain't trying to blow it."
Yeah, a lot of problems, between people are caused by stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not proper communication. That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing that hurts most relationships.
Yeah,
in general, friendships, work-wise, love,
romantic-wise. Yeah,
it's usually a lack of communication. And then the very last sentence is just, it says, "You hope the following." I'll just quote it directly. "I hope the following ideas will be of some help to you in your work, and that you do not object to an amateur social psychologist analyzing a major family problem."
Don't go on YouTube. Go to an actual licensed person.
Yeah, don't listen to...
How do I fix my marriage?
Don't listen to 2 kids on YouTube talking about a book written in the 70s.
Yeah, well, no, it's not the fact that it's in the 70s. It's just the fact that we are not professionals, and neither was this guy, I'm assuming.
Well, no, definitely not, because he clearly described himself as an amateur.
Yeah.
But anyway, you want to end it off? Because that is the end of it.
Yeah. We hope you guys learned from this video. We hope you enjoyed it and it was entertaining.
I'm going to say, we hope you found it interesting.
And helpful as well, if you're having issues like this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. It would be amazing if someone was actually helped for this.
See a story in the comments. "Oh, you saved my marriage. Subscribe and buy all the merch." But
buy all the merch we don't have.
Buy all the merch we don't have, and watch all the ads we don't have either, so we can get more money that we don't have. Like, sub, comment for future videos. Watch the old videos if you haven't yet. It would you need context for this book.
Yeah, watch at least the first long video, like the first one. You don't have to watch the short, because that's more of
the introduction.
Yeah,
but
watch at least the first part of the series. That's an actual 10-minute long video.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch any of them, watch that and then whatever. You don't have to watch from
these don't have to be in order, but you should watch that one first.
Yeah,
and the rest of them don't have to be in a particular order.
As an appetizer. All right, thank y'all for watching, and see you next time.